T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
All right. Fired up, boys. I'm excited.
Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about tonight. This is gonna be a fun episode. We got a lot of good things. Crazy weekend, crazy sports weekend, college, NFL.
A little heartbreak.
Yeah, yes, and we will touch on all of it. All of the emotions will be explored here. So, I think first things first. Don't want to waste any time, man. We had a great time with this last week. A very popular segment for us last week was touching on college football. We had a few really interesting games that I think are worth touching on this week. We're going to throw it over to Hefe. Hefe is our kind of resident college football expert here on the You Get the Horn show. And boy, this one, the first one we're going to talk about here, I think it's a little bit close to home for those who don't know.
Cuts deep.
Hefe lives in South Florida. He is a Miami Hurricanes. I think it goes beyond fan, as we'll typically find out. It's rare that he's not wearing Hurricanes gear. He's a season ticket holder. He goes to the games. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the game this past weekend here?
Well, to be honest with you, there's not much to talk about. The game came and went. My Hurricanes got beat. And it wasn't as if, it wasn't as if I'd say we really challenged them, because from the word go, Middle Tennessee came into our house, Hard Rock Stadium, with a mission, and I'll be damned if they did not execute everything that they wanted to do against us and made us look like clowns. We definitely, sometimes when you go the week prior to, right, you hear coaches speak and it's like, don't turn one loss into two losses, right? And I genuinely believe that the hangover of the Texas A&M game ended up biting us in the ass against Middle Tennessee State. Now, again, tip of the hat to them. They came, they brought it. Everything.
I just want to jump in here if I could. I just want to jump in really quickly. I think we glossed over this a little bit for the folks listening. So the Miami Hurricanes, I believe, were ranked the number 25 team in the nation, if I'm not
25
mistaken.
in the nation, yep.
You mentioned the fact that they lost at home, and I think there was maybe just a little bit of a skip past who it was that they lost to. So for anyone listening who maybe didn't get a chance to see the scores and the schedule from the weekend, who exactly did Miami play and lose to at home this weekend?
Miami was playing Middle Tennessee State. Again,
are they ranked?
Not a powerhouse.
Are they ranked or?
Yeah, where are they ranked?
Where?
Middle Tennessee State might as well have been the number one team in the country, because they sure enough played as if they were the number one team in the country. Now, again, I think there's Sun Belt Conference team, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not even sure.
They're probably not even sure.
But yeah, they don't even know what conference they came in. But they did come in and brought it, and definitely showed. We paid for them to come down here. I think it's $1.5 million to beat us by two touchdowns.
You got that App State disease. You got that App State disease, baby.
Unreal. Gentlemen, I'm telling you, we didn't show up. There's nothing that we could have done that game. We even switched quarterbacks the second half as if that was going to do something. The fans went crazy. I stayed till the clock struck 0 as if the outcome was going to change, because it never was. It was at hand. They beat us by 2 touchdowns. I would love to sit here. We have a new regime. We have new coaches in here. I just don't think that the coaches, everybody wants to blame somebody for something, right? That's the way it is, right? We got to find blame in something. I think the coaches tried their best to get these kids motivated. But I think some of these kids from the old regime, their mentality, how they react to losses and stuff like that, I think there's a hangover effect. And so until there's that change of Cristobal getting his kids in here that he wants to run his systems and do all those things, until that happens, we're gonna have games like this. However, I had Miami going, 8-4, 9-3 this season, right? I had 3 losses on our schedule, guaranteed. Now I'm a little bit worried we could have more. But definitely one of those losses was not Middle Tennessee State. That's not the team we were going to be losing to at all.
It was not.
Again, tip of the hat
This
to
one
them.
could have knocked you out of your survivor pool.
Yeah. Absolutely. No questions asked. And then, but here's the beauty of it. They're not in our conference. We have yet to play a conference game. So all in all, the optimistic fan in me, we could run the table and still play for the ACC conference championship. However, the team that played on Saturday, they ain't going to do it.
Yeah.
But there's still that chance. It's like that Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance. Yeah.
All right.
But hey, guys, whatever. Let's move on. There are other things that happen in the college world of sports. All right. Let's touch base on Oklahoma, the number 6 ranked team in the country. They go ahead, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kansas State. Kansas State is that feisty team that ends up every 3 to 4 years because of the recruiting class that they bring in. Those kids stay together, they play together, they stay there for their 3 or 4 years, and they can pull off upsets. And it happens. Bill Snyder was infamous for doing this. They play at Bill Snyder Stadium, all that wonderful stuff that happens. He was a great coach for them. From like 99 to 2010. He was unbelievable. He pulled upsets off all the time. It was part of their DNA. I went on Wikipedia just to get a little bit more of information on Kansas State. And in the bio headline of them, if I'm not mistaken, they are known as K-State, Kansas State, and in there they added Oklahoma's daddy. Boom. Enough said, guys. Oklahoma's daddy. I love it. Kudos to the fans that get on there and update Wikipedia. They need money, send them money. Do what you got to do to get in there to write your little, inserts. That one is perfect. Thank you guys for doing that. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
another news to touch base on our darling that we had fun with Appalachian State, who gave us probably one of the funnest games that we've had of the season in college football last week.
Back-to-back games.
Yeah,
back-to-back
absolutely.
Crazy App State games. They were the talk of the country.
Fun games. Absolutely, guys. And what do? James Madison ends up giving them an L. 22 unanswered points in the second half to give App State the L that we did not think they deserved. But tip of the hat to you, James Madison. Way to do your thing.
Yeah. A lot of teams going to have to fear James Madison. You don't want to see them coming into Miami. I know that.
Oh no, I'm not thinking that they're they come to our house, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing I want to touch on before we move on to what was in the NFL over the weekend. Georgia Tech, an ACC foe of ours, they ended up firing their AD and their head coach. The news on that, it's not a surprise. They haven't done well. Coach Collins came in, was supposed to do something to get them out of that whole kind of like the old wishbone that they were running. They were running like a triple option. That's old style football that they used to run in, in Notre Dame and Oklahoma and all those schools used to win all those championships. They were in that wishbone and that triple option stuff. They got rid of that. They got this Coach Collins who was doing his thing, and they thought he was going to change something there. Well, his record didn't do it. They didn't prove anything on the field. It's almost as if they went backwards instead of forwards. But the fun part of what happened, because there's nothing fun about losing your job. We all know that.
No.
But he's going to get paid $11 million to stay away. So I'm sure he'll be okay in the long run, guys.
No hard feelings.
None whatsoever. And this world of recycled coaches, he'll find a job on somebody. I'm sure Nick Saban will throw him on as an advisor coach or some sort. Because that's what Alabama does with their 58 coaches that they have on the sidelines. But I won't touch on that. But the fun part of what's happening is if you guys pay attention, Jackson State University has a head coach that I think, Tad, you'd be familiar with him because I believe he suited up for your Baltimore Ravens.
Absolutely. One of the greats.
Deion Sanders is the name to look out for at Georgia Tech.
Wow.
For a hire. I think his alma mater turned him down for the opportunity to coach themselves. Now they're 3-0. They're doing well. Florida State's doing their thing with Mike Norvell. However, we'll see how that goes because it hasn't been great in his first 2 years there. And everybody knows that Deion wanted to go home. He kind of wanted to be that Cristobal. He wanted to go home to be that coach. They spurned him. They didn't want him. If Georgia Tech goes out on a limb and goes after Deion Sanders and brings him to be their head coach, guys, it's going to be fun. And
so let me make sure I understand this. Is this a prediction on your behalf here, an exclusive prediction on the You Get the Horns show? Or are you saying that you believe that this will happen? And I'm telling you now, this is going to be interesting. What was it, last week, I believe? A few days ahead of time, way before the story broke really anywhere, I predicted that the Ravens would be signing Jason Pierre-Paul. A couple days later, that's exactly what happened. We do have a rich history here on the show because all of us are, we keep our ear to the ground and are constantly researching and digging. Are you saying that you believe that Deion will leave Jackson State and end up as head coach at Georgia Tech?
I think he should. I think they should. I think it should be a done deal.
Wow.
I really do. He's done well at Jackson State. I think he deserves it. He deserves an opportunity like this. Those kids are fighting for him. He gives a lot of kids opportunities. And in the recruiting world, he's got a couple 5-star kids to go to that school.
Yeah. He's a culture changer. We've seen that. He's a culture changer for sure.
I'm just saying, I think they should give him a serious consideration. And I think that's where he should end up. And I hope he does. Now, mind you, I got to play the guy. They're in our conference. Miami will be playing him. And I don't know if I like the idea. I do like him better at Georgia Tech than I do at Florida State. So, thank you, Florida State, for churning on him and not bringing him there. We'll see what happens. That's what I got for you guys this
breaking news, breaking prediction here on You Get the Horns show. This is why people tune in. This is the stuff that people want to hear. And boy, if in the next week or two we hear the story break, I promise you this will be one of, if not the first place that this was discussed. So
yeah, let's mark it. Let's mark it. Timestamp it. Let's see what happens.
Right. Timestamp it.
Let's see what goes on.
I like this. A bold prediction.
Gentlemen, I digress now.
That was our week of college, or weekend, I guess, of college football. And, man, it's hard to not – look, I'm a marginal fan of college football, as you guys know. I follow the pros a lot more. But, man, when these types of games happen, these types of upsets happen, I mean, these are the things that drive further interest, right? This is, it's starting to – it's interesting because I think the college football landscape has changed so much. It used to be – you just didn't hear these types of upsets. It was so rare. And now it's on a weekly basis. There's I don't want to say parity because obviously there are still tremendous recruiting advantages for the top programs. But
no question.
These teams are going in, on the road and upsetting teams. And I'm not going to sit here and say that James Madison versus App State is the biggest upset in the world. But man, I think App State was up like 28-3 or something. So it becomes a big upset when you find a way to lose that game.
Yeah.
So, it's really interesting to see how the landscape is changing a little bit in college football. And again, talking about what Deion has done at Jackson State is certainly really interesting because, man, that guy could be on a fast track to be moving up in the world, which can't take it away from him, man. He's earned it. He's done some really great things in a really short period of time. So it's impressive to see.